Hello, this is Naomi Smalls. Join me as I go through my looks. Hi, guys. I'm going to be going through my looks today. All these looks are from different time periods, starting from the beginning of drag to current day. I've made a lot of mistakes in the past, but this is going to be a chance to read myself because if you can't read yourself, you know the rest. These are looks that I am getting rid of. They're going to be in the past. And for me, a lot of these are just costumes. And I feel like my drag, I'm always trying to evolve with it, which always means on to the next. I just can't wait to look back at even my time right now and be like, I don't even want to wear this anymore. What the hell was I thinking? All of these are available on depop.com/Naomi Smalls. If you would like to see me go through the entire collection, please tune into patreon.com/Naomi Smalls. So we are going to start with what I call probably the most recognizable as of now Naomi Smalls. I think that I still to date love straight hair, leather, fur, feathers, being naked, excessive jewelry, but now it's just a little edited, I would say. Looking at this girl, fuck. She looks like she works the corner, but everything is kind of cunt at the same time. Like, this fishnet is not necessarily a fishnet you would see in every single store. It's a little wider. At least this is what I'm telling myself when I was curating these looks, okay? Panty exposed. This is a creepy yeehaw belt. This is a Xanabane bra. And this is a lovely fur coat. Well, it's actually an ostrich feather fur coat that Kim gave me. This look I performed Play Nashville. I think it was Ariana Grande Every Day mixed with who cares? It's over. It's in the past. And yeah, on to the next. Wow. Okay. More leather. Gosh, there's so many things wrong with this time. But also, like, I think this was one of my first shoots I ever did that I tried to, like, conceptualize and, like, style the whole thing and have multiple shots as if you were, like, reading it in a magazine spread. Well, not one of the, one of the first, but not the first. Right here, I'm standing next to a garbage dumpster, which just seems fitting for a drag queen, especially a drag queen who's not wearing an earring, and I'm not wearing a wig. How dare I? I think probably the most bearable thing about this for me is the Xanabane leg leather braces. I remember drooling on these online when I first saw them, never thinking I was going to be able to actually wear them. But once I got on Drag Race and decided to get a little money and not spend it on lip injections. Actually, I spent a lot of money on lip injections at this time. What am I telling myself? Dear God. These are like probably the biggest my lips have ever been. I'm wearing blue contacts. I never do that anymore. Well, I never do innocent white Desio blue contacts. If I'm gonna do it now, I'll do irresistible blue Desio contacts. What a time. Fedora, ew. No earring, ew. No pants. Yes. Wow. Cute. What a girl. Ah, this look. All red. I still to date love a monochromatic look. You see the choker, you see the heavy jewelry. When I started drag, I used to go to Melrose Avenue in Los Angeles and I would like drool all over these like plastic ugly club jewelry, but like the fact that it was so massive I was so impressed by. But then I would like ask the people behind the counter how much it was and they would tell me like $4.95, and I'm bitch, I was like a hairstylist doing $40 haircuts at that time, so that was just like not in my budget. But when I went to Chicago for the first time, I saw this like jewelry warehouse outlet and you could get like what I was looking at was $4.95 in LA was like $29 in Chicago. So when you see all these early drag days, I am just like bangled the fuck out because I could afford it finally. I found the source. You can clearly see in this monochromatic red head to toe look, I am representing that. This is like maybe what Coco Chanel was saying when she said to take one thing off when you leave the house. I loved these blouses. This is from the Lady Hyde Dallas Coulter. The pants are also Dallas. And this fur is from Etsy that I still have to date. We filmed a Vegas commercial, Kim, Chi, Thorgy, and I. 2 shooting days, so unnecessary. The commercial never made it to air. It was only on Vimeo. But, oh, gosh, what a time. I thought I was Linda Evangelista walking down Fremont Street in Vegas.
I'm so excited to have a quiet girls' night in. It's just important that we're together.
You know, slow down a bit.
Reconnecting is an understatement.
Maybe a little shopping if you have time.
Maybe.
I think this is one of my first pairs of open toe shoes. And I learned my lesson. Open toe shoes and floor length pants is not necessarily the vibe. Yeah. Next. Okay. Back to the creepy yeehaw. I just love, to date, everyone knows I love leather so much. I don't know why. I think leather is just one of those things that's like, you don't necessarily have to rely on rhinestones. You don't have to rely on sparkle. I always say I do drag for the girls backstage, and girls clock, they touch, they know when leather is leather, and pleather is pleather, and faux is faux, and fur is fur. It's that. This is a photo with Katya Zamalochikova at Roscoe's Tavern in Chicago. I think this is the last photo I posted before I left for All Stars. And you can definitely see it in the face. Like, bitch was a fresh pump, colored eyeshadow after touring with Kim for so long and her bowling me into Sugar Pill and glitter. The beret was strong. The rhinestone clips were there. I was getting ready to go be a hoe on AS4. The little blazer and skirt is another Lady Hyde Chanel dupe that I wore for the first performance for the season 8 tour. And I matched it with this creepy yeehaw, and God, what a time. We were just doing an episode viewing, and God, I love Katya. I miss Katya. I don't miss this wig at all, but we live to tell the story. Okay, so this is my All Stars finale look. I love this look. I have like a little bit of weird feelings parting with this look, but honestly, I just can't see myself ever wearing this again. But I do love. There are things I absolutely love, as far as I just never felt this grand in drag. I don't have the skirt anymore because it got fully used and abused on the Work the World 2019 tour. This is the first piece that I got to work with Michael on, Michael Brambilla. I think it was like the fishnet hooded stocking, which was like, I think the rhinestoned fishnet was such a Michael Brambilla moment, which just started a long-lasting relationship of costumes. This is a Dallas Hyde look. This is a Natasha stoning job. This piece is a corset. It is fully rhinestoned, and I'm sad to see it go, but I also know, bitch, you're never wearing this ever again. So share the love. Goodbye, All Stars. I decided to wear my scarecrow wig with this just because I thought it was gonna be like a really cute full circle moment. I don't know if anyone even noticed it. And if I had to do this over again on All Stars, I would have not revealed my skirt on the runway and instead just come out in this for like the final lip sync, because changing was so stupid. I knew I wasn't gonna win, and the fact that I wore my like sequin Christmas tour performance outfit was just like the things I wish I could go back on. You got some insight on. So after filming All Stars, I went back to my same gig and I did the Murray and Peter tours. And I remember the New York Murray and Peter show. I don't want to talk shit about Murray and Peter, but I always wanted to be a Voss Work the World girl because I am such a tour girl. I like just love performing. So I just knew that the Voss Work the World tours were a little bit more higher budget, a little bit higher production.
Oh, hi. We just wrapped the Drag Queen Christmas with MP Present, and guess what? We're going back on tour for the season 8. And guess what? You can get your tickets at dragfans.com. You can see Bob the Drag Queen, Naomi Smalls, Kim Chi. You can see Naomi Smalls? Name yourself.
I mean, there was dancers, there was a spotlight. And honestly, if you give me a fog machine, a spotlight, and that's really all. A fog machine, a spotlight, and a working track. Like, just play the full track, I'm happy. This did not happen with this performance. I performed this all over the States, all over Europe.
Trace my lips. I need to satisfy.
Everything was fine until we went to Wembley Arena in London, and my track just stopped for a good like minute 30 seconds.
Express yourself.
Did the music just awkwardly stop? Oh, the video started. And it's like...
I performed this number nightly with Philip. It was just like a duet. Philip, you are the one, you're the only one I really want to share the stage with, but I know it's an ensemble of 6, so we have to include other people. But Philip is always the one that I feel the most comfortable with on stage. And the bitch did not miss a beat, because when the music stopped, we just held our position for a good minute 30 until it had to come back in. I think Acid Betty is the one that like ran to the soundboard to like fix everything. I'm excited to see what somebody else does with it. It is a fully rhinestoned, contoured, sickening hip, bust out. Started the love of like having my knuckles covered, because I think like when you see someone's knuckles, it's like a dead giveaway that that's a dude. This comes with a skirt and a hood and a bodysuit, and gosh, this is like a pivotal performance look for Naomi Smalls that kind of dictated the way that I still to date formulate my performances. Ethereal, into hoe, into let me collect your soul and your dollars. So after performing in Vegas, there was this little thing called COVID-19, which entered the era of digital drag. As a performer, I knew I was going to need to use that skill in some medium. I have never really been much of the tech person, but I have such great friends who are and are down to help me make my vision complete. And I feel like the Smalls World show was like a creation and a birth of just that. I worked with Todd, Natasha, Ricky, Sarah, Michael, Danny, so many people to make this happen. And looking back at it is just like, we really made something happen in a time where there was no stage to perform on. And this was like literally like you had to wear a mask and stand in a line to get into the grocery store. The fact that we were making drag at that time for all of you guys to view is just so special to me. I love shooting this. If you guys could see the wide shot, I'll probably have to include it in this. It is like it is movie magic. Like in the heart of Koreatown, in the backyard of Sarah's building. If you can imagine like a patio and then like across the street a 9-story apartment building staring down on this hooker in denim shorts, but going to Hollywood Hills to rent these TVs also during a pandemic when I didn't have a car, and having to wait like 26 minutes for an Uber to get me there, and also wait for another 26 minutes for an Uber just to get the fuck up there to take us back. COVID, you guys don't even know. Doing drag during COVID was just a feat, and cheers to that being over. This terry cloth robe, I think that there is, maybe I'll blame the Victoria's Secret fashion show or BTS supermodel from the start of Runway to now. Like seeing the girls in the robe backstage, I think has always been such a glamorous thing to me. My first photo shoot I even ever did was with Martin, and I shot in a terry cloth bathrobe and a towel on top of my head. So one thing you can say about me, I am consistent. All right, Smalls World Show, Frontline, in Joshua Tree. I love this dress so much. She is the one. This is a Michael Brambilla. And I'm even wearing lucite jewelry. It's a theme, apparently. I don't know where the fuck this cuff went, but I wish I still had it. I wanted to be a space girl. There was something very like, I need to be in outer space when it came to COVID. So like, let's escape Earth, if you will. This is my version of, I don't know what it is about the desert, but it gives you futuristic, doesn't it? You know you look cunt when you look cunt in the daylight. Like that is a true test to beauty for drag, makeup, skincare. If you think you look cute in your Ricky or lip mirror, go into the sunlight and really see what's the tea. But I love the cuts on this dress. I love all the panels. I love the exaggerated hip. I love the cinch waist. The like C3PO titty is also everything. I wish I was like Jessica Stam with a ponytail, but at this time I did not know what the fuck I was doing when it came to ponytails. So you got the bump, the D-light bump. This is a Dallas Coulter dress with a Danny Godoy edit. This dress was actually off the shoulder when I first had it made. It was made for the RuPaul's Drag Race Live Vegas premiere. I am a believer in recycling your looks or upscaling them, upgrading them. And I used this look to perform in the Smalls World Show 1.0. This was a love letter to my mom. I showed a slideshow of all of our Heppenstall family photos and featured a interview with the one, the only June Heppenstall. Growing up, I always listened to my mom talk about how she wished she had kept voicemails and home videos and voice memos from her mother, Jean Purdy. So I just thought that the Smalls World Show was a great way to document and digitize June Heppenstall, and this was a love letter to her and was featured in a digital drag show called The Smalls World Show. So right when things were starting to get back to like working with other creatives, and like I remember this process that had to have like 3 COVID tests, go through a whole moment just to be able to like film on location again, or just do drag on location again. And this was an opportunity I got to perform at the GLAAD Awards with Chloe and Haley. I did not know the dance at this time. If you look back at the videos, you can tell I did not know the dance. I'm not much of a dancer if you can't tell. But it was Mayhem Miller, Vanessa Vanjie Mateo, myself, and we got the brief that we were going to be Spice Girls. So before we got to necessarily know the looks that we were going to have, we hopped on a call, and I remember texting Vanjie because I had a hunch Chloe and Haley were going to choose to be Scary and Posh. Posh and Scary are the least draggy of the group of 5, and I knew that they weren't gonna wear wigs. There was something in me that knew these bitches were not gonna fucking wear wigs because wigs are dangerous. You see a lace front and it's a wrap, you know? Scary and Posh were like the most real of the bunch. So leave it to the clowns to be the clowns. And once I kind of figured that out and got the confirmation on the call, I was like, okay, I'm gonna be the most recognizable one. If I'm not gonna be Posh, I'll be the most recognizable one, which is Ginger. But they assigned Ginger actually to Vanjie, and Vanjie was like, bitch, I don't want to be copper. So I was like, I got a copper wig. Let's add some blonde to the front. Let's go the full Jerry Hollowell fantasy. So James Angel added some blonde to this style, and thank God, Danny made this United Jack Ginger Spice inspired look. I'm wearing the Jimmy Choos. Yes, I am a shoe repeater. Fucking sue me. It's hard to find anything over a 42 for this big-footed bitch. What a time. What a time. I was honored to be asked to perform for them. I still don't really know what I'm doing with the whole do TikTok dance of it all. Not much has changed. Plastique Tiara finally moved to Los Angeles around this time. This is like such a, looking back, it wasn't necessarily intentional, but looking back, it just makes so much sense. Plastique introduced me to the beauty of neutral. She really made me appreciate it again. I think I was raised on Raven, so of course I always knew the beauty of beige, but I think just from being friends with Kim and dipping my toe more into cosmetics, I got into colored eyeshadow, head to toe monochromatic like pastel looks and shit. And Plastique, touring with her on Worth the World, she really brought me back to not Earth, but brought me back to a more real fantasy. This is the first time I think I painted soft. On tour, we used to joke about like how brunette just makes you feel like so pussy because it's not black, yet it's not pastel, yet it's not blonde, but it's brunette. And you like still look like you pay money for it to get that nice chestnut toffee coffee color. We are wearing Mugler inspired looks, head to toe. The cutouts are fierce. We took it to, this is so offensive, problematic, but Suicide Bridge in Pasadena. And we shot underneath there with Sarah, and we got these glamorous shots. I love this wig that Zach did for this. It's kind of like Irish Step Dancer meets Naomi Smalls. And the brief was be brunette, be neutral, and be cunt. And this is Those Girls by Those Girls featuring Those Girls, Plastique Tiara and Naomi Smalls. I love you, Plastique. I love working with my friends. I'm so lucky that my friends are down to endure the delusion and craziness that is Naomi Smalls. This is a shoot I did with Akna and Shablam and Tasha and Todd. I loved how this came out for Shiseido. I was hired pretty much to promote their eyeshadows that they were working on, and I knew that I wanted to do it right. This is a Michael Brambilla look. This is a Zach Killian, probably the most simple style I've ever had Zach do, but it really was not simple at all because it is a full lace, fully ventilated James hairline wig into a bun that Zach did with a fascinator that was made just for this. It looked so great on stage after this shoot. And I love these shots. This is a Shablam earring, a Shablam beat. And I've never looked like this again because I don't have the patience for this kind of eyeliner. Okay, so COVID was obviously the birth of Smalls World show. And in the second Smalls World show, I dedicated a little like fraction of it to Wendy Williams. And I decided to like lip sync a spoken word mix of like Wendy Williams at home that Lee Dawson condensed. And doing that in my apartment at the time, like I love Wendy Williams. I had performed Wendy Williams on a Christmas tour. I performed Wendy Williams at a club gig. There was something about doing Wendy Williams in my apartment that did not feel right. It just did not feel authentic. But no, actually, it felt authentic. It just didn't feel cunt. Green screen, you're right. I don't believe in green screens. I really don't believe in green screens unless it's like a green screen studio. But like a little green screen sheet behind you, I hate that feeling. It just feels so like rummage, make shit together kind of thing. And I was gonna do the same thing that I did for Wendy Williams, like a spoken word mix to Naomi Campbell speaking with E4 about racism in the fashion industry. I was gonna do racism in the fashion industry with Naomi Campbell, Wendy Williams at home during COVID, and Kim Kardashian accepting the CFDA award for the like style icon of the year. I'm so happy that the Naomi Campbell one and the Kim Kardashian one did not end up happening because it just didn't feel right for some reason. But I had the look made that Naomi Campbell wore in that interview, and I just never really got around to doing that. And at that point I realized, okay, maybe it's time to get back on stage. Since the stages were opening up, but I was a little reluctant because I was like, no, I'm just like, I don't want to put myself at risk. But back to gigs. Moving on to Drive and Drag, which I have to say is probably the best introduction I had back into the stage life. The theme was superheroes. It was drag queens dressing up as superheroes, saving the world from the pandemic. COVID was finally releasing, so we were performing in parking lots. Like when I tell you, a Bass Pro Shop parking lot overlooking a JCPenney in the middle of San Antonio, Texas, I am not joking. But we were all just so excited to be on stage, and I will say this is my favorite tour to date. I got to do it with Bianca Del Rio and Plastique. You can tell that I had not done drag and toured in a while because what bitch in their right mind gets a all-white performance look made who has brown foundation all over her fucking body? But thank God for Aquaria's mom, Gina, for taking a toothbrush and alcohol to this like nightly because it was needed. This is a performance that was choreographed by Philip, the GOAT. I will never have a tour performance non-choreographed by Philip ever again. I tried that one time and let's just say it was not cute. I had so much fun shining on stage each night to this. I feel like with performing, there is so many ways to gag the audience and make moments and have like, we live in an age where everyone wants to bust out their phone. So having a moment where like you're just standing still and like letting the lights do the work for you and the fog machines, this is what that performance did. This is probably honestly my top 3 performances to date. I love her. So there was 2 segments of Drive and Drag. So we had like maybe 6 weeks on tour and then a break for like a month, and then we were going back for another 6 weeks. And of course, when you are traveling with other drag queens, you gotta one-up them. You just have to one-up the girls, you know? The last disco look was all uniform mirror pieces, but this one we played with gunmetal and gold, and Michael had more cutouts. This is to date one of my favorite, like the way that this performance look fits. Going into this, I knew I did not want to do white again, obviously, because the makeup stains were insane. and I got really close to Bianca. You can even tell just by like the hair that I'm wearing in this photo that I got close to Bianca. And I was inspired by her, and she told me like, why don't you do a chartreuse version of this look? And if Bianca says it, it's right. Like, I live in that headspace, and I don't know a drag queen out there that does not admire Bianca Del Rio. I'm so lucky that I get to come to her with advice all the time. And I loved the way that the gold reflected. But there were some shows that was like full daylight. The fact that this costume had like gold in it, a sunset performance with this is like in my brain as looking just like so pussy, so cunt. And yeah, I loved being a dance floor darling for Drive and Drag 2021. Yeah, the power of a leg reveal. I learned the power of a leg reveal during this performance for sure. Start at the ankle, move to the hip, and then when it comes to the top, start at the wrist, move to the torso. Little pro tip. So the best thing about doing Drag Race Live was, of course, being close to family and reconnecting with the GOAT, the OG, someone who I've had such a roller coaster of a friendship with, named Derek Barry. I think this was after I did a sit down with Derek. I believe this is one of my old wigs that she's wearing. I did her makeup one day and I put one of my wigs on her, and she did not give it back to me. She was like, you're not getting this back. You're going to sell this to me. The power of a wig, the power of jewelry, and the power of Derek Barry. The impact of Derek Barry traveled not only into the Flamingo workroom, but I took it to the stage. I feel like I grew up as a Britney, like my first music video memory is Hit Me Baby One More Time. I wasn't raised on her music, but I definitely remember that music video. And I think just being close to Derek and Derek being so gracious and kind to drive my ass home every single day, I just was infused with Britney Spears against my will, but not really against my will because I was like so down for it. I love being around someone that I love and hearing what they love, because I think that's just like the most raw way you can get interest. And I took some Britney Spears inspiration to the stage. I did a full Britney Spears set. I think this was like an 8-minute mix of every time, because I do remember being like an emotional little faggot when I was a kid, singing every time in the bathtub. And it went into Hit Me Baby One More Time and Piece of Me, and fuck, I don't remember the last one. The discography is intense, but I loved performing this. It had a jacket reveal, it had a skirt reveal. This is a Michael Brambilla Britney recreation edit, Naomi Smalls-ified. There's a Godoy reveal piece with it. And it had, because I am just so annoying, it had to be legit suede and it had to be legit shearling. And like, dear God, why? It's for the girls backstage. We do drag for the girls backstage so they can touch, they can feel, they can ooh, they can ah, they can get into it. You know what I mean? And I felt so cunt. I had abs, I had a cutout, I had a thong. Like, this was the moment. I had very little experience going out in drag for fun. Pre-Drag Race, I mean, I was casted on Drag Race when I was 21 years old, and I started doing drag at 18. And it was a lot of competitive, competition-based drag. So if I was getting in drag, it was most likely to be on stage. So I didn't really have the like going out to the clubs or like roaming around the streets in drag days. I mean, I'm a mess. I'm in nails, I'm in baby oil, I am tripping, I am clumsy. I mean, drag is uncomfortable, you don't want to be in the club. But Derek Barry in Vegas, that bitch got me into the straight clubs. She got me walking around the strip as if I was just like a little tourist from Indiana with my clutch, and like we're just with my girls and we're gonna have some fun. Like, she really got me into that headspace. And that transferred over to when Roxy Andrews joined the show, and we would go out to clubs and bars in drag. So crazy to think about because it's just so not me, but this is the power of the strip. In this photo, we are going to Bob the Drag Queen's show at the Virgin Hotel. The girls just decided to pop in before our show at the Flamingo. And literally, this is like just girly things. That's the only way I can explain it. It's like, this is just girly things. Thank you, Derek Barry, again. Is she caught on the...
She's caught in the moment.
Lifting, oh yeah. Thank y'all. Go brush your hair, bitch. Go brush your hair. I am still entering my neon era, and it really just went ham with this neon look I wore for Pit Stop.
That was, she did.
Yeah.
Pause for the ponytail break.
Honestly,
I was in Vegas, it was New Year's, and I remember Roxy and Maya's resolution was no more rhinestones and no, we're only gonna wear neutrals. We're gonna wear neutrals and black. Everything was gonna be all black look or neutrals. And somehow months later, I ended up being the fucking brightest bitch in the room. I was wearing neon puffs on my head, looking like a damn poodle. And I did a full neon look.
Let me tell you a story about a girl. She walked around like she ran the world. She walked around like she knew everything. I wouldn't back down till you kissed her ring.
I love this look. It has a classic Naomi neckline that we love to do. So this is a Michael corset included. I remember the girls backstage were gagged that this had a corset because you could not tell. Everything is so smooth. It's something that I would definitely wear again. I have to try this in a neutral or a black just to uphold my New Year's resolution that never did happen. This is a part of the Queen of Clubs performance that went to New Bottega by the Queen Mother, Azalea Banks. She is the big sister we all know we have and we all support, even when it's not necessarily easy to. I love you, Azalea, just so you know. Hey, girl.
Oh, hi, baby.
Here.
Thank you. Anyways, little bitch, get the fuck off the fucking...
This is from the Work the World 2023 tour, choreographed by Philip, my duet partner, Philip. I think the best way to make neon pop, this is just the obvious, you put it next to black. Now I'm a little less crazy about outfits. Like if people have seen them in one setting, they can't see them in another setting, but I wanted to give like a trial run. So when Sadie Pines and I were booked for Fat Slut, we had one of the craziest shows I've ever had in my life. We got there and it was just sweating fucking bullets the entire time. I was sweating bullets the entire time. It was so hot in there. I mean, I love Meatball, I love Precinct, I love Fat Slut, but fuck! It was so hot in there. And I remember getting ready up until the very last second, losing nails, losing tuck. I don't even think I had time to tuck. And I was wearing a fucking bra and panty. Like, that's when you know something is wrong. I actually really enjoyed doing this performance. Earlier that day, I filmed my Work the World visuals that were behind when I was on tour. This jacket was used for my Work the World performance. I vetoed the skirt because I could not dance with it. And honestly, I can't wait to see it on someone fully realized. This photo is with Philip. We took this in Chicago. I felt like this was probably the most cunt I felt on this entire tour day, and it was just another combination of like the shoe was right, the body was over. I don't know, like the tour body just like I survive on peanut butter pretzels and sleep. Not even really. Peanut butter pretzels, weed, and God, probably just the determination to put another face on day after day. But I had RJ on the hair, and I had like this like braid that went all the way down to my knees. And I mean, look at Philip. He just looks so hot. He's in a coordinating look. I love the blacklight stones. I remember when Michael found the blacklight stones. It took a couple years for me to like finally find the right moment for it to happen. Once we finally got to use the neon stones on stage, it was just so impactful. I have another version of this costume, which is why it's easier to let this go, because I know I still have like a better, like more encrusted, more stoned, more cunty, more snatch waist version of this. In my opinion, it was the best number of this tour, and I kind of needed to have like a revenge moment after being shaded and read by the promoters of this tour from my pirate performance previous year. So this is the closing look of Work the World 2023. The assignment was red, which was nice to have a color instead of my previous tours where you had to incorporate this fucking hideous funfetti holographic gold sequin. I really liked this upgrade to the tour where the girls can have a little bit more fun. This is a look that Michael created where I think my favorite thing about this look is that Amanda Lepore gagged on it, that it was corseted, but you could still see my belly button. I just thought that was the highest compliment I could ever receive from such a legend, such an icon. This was a fur stole that I found on Etsy that was mentioned in the Vegas commercial back in the day, and also used on the Lollapalooza All Stars 4 episode. If I'm buying fur, I'm not giving it away or selling it. I'm probably gonna hold on to it until she falls apart, and that is called carbon footprint. What would you call that? Recycling? Saving the planet? PETA. No, like the animal activist. Wow. And that is all my looks available on Depop as of now. Hurry while they're available. If not, check out for the next drop, because bitch, I'm always getting rid of shit and I am a shopaholic.